Team of the decade, but this is the beautiful part in that nobody can argue with you because the criteria is players you played against and thought, wow, when you're up against these guys, they're serious.
See, makes
it very difficult to argue with you.
This was my argument about the PFA team last year when Paul Pogba got in it, and it just like upset everybody's narrative of let's hate Pogba. But when you get the PFA card, you pick players that you've played against that have given you problems. And if enough people think that you've given them problems, you make the PFA team of the year, and Pogba made the PFA team of the year. And everyone's going, oh, the voting's in February, it doesn't count anymore, he's down tools, it doesn't matter. So if it's in February, does that mean that when Mo Salah was PFA player of the year? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So anyway, this is mine. I know people feel free to argue about it. I'm not saying you can't argue with me. I mean, feel free.
If you've played against any of these players, text in 53106.
No, definitely not. But I mean, it's just my opinion.
It's very hard for me to argue with you, but I'll do my best in certain areas.
Well, someone's wrote underneath different players.
Well, I said write down Yaya Toure, because I want to come back to him on that.
I'll put David De Gea in goal.
Okay, that was a no-brainer for you?
I think so, yeah. I think he was, up until last year, he was the best goalkeeper.
Yeah,
definitely in Europe, you'd have thought. I've gone with Mccoy Walker at right back.
Go on, because
that guy was an absolute machine.
Yeah.
Like his high intent, I saw stats after a game, like his high intensity running was like insane. I mean, the guy was just up and down the right wing at just sprint pace for the whole game.
Yeah.
He was just short like 2,000 metres or something at like sprinting, which was just like, and he caused carnage up and down, it was just good.
Okay.
I know a lot of people were saying Zabaleta and whatever, and Zabaleta was very, very good. He was, you know, I mean, yeah, it was fine. But again,
he was fine.
He was good.
Carragher and Neville both had Zabaleta in there, interestingly.
Yeah, that's fine. Company and Terry, my two centre-backs.
Company and Terry.
Yeah. I think that, like...
You didn't want an Instagram reply from John Terry, clearly, a la Jamie Carragher. So Company's a no-brainer, clearly.
Yeah, I think he was, that guy was, he was a monster. I used to always get him at set pieces.
Did you?
He used to just bull rush you, just run at you and just try and run, and he was a big man.
Was he taller than you?
He was about the same height, but he was about twice as wide as me, and he was aggressive as well. So, you know, you didn't want to get him, we didn't want to let him lay hands on you, because if he did, he would just manhandle you.
Right.
So you just tried to like go with his run almost, and then just trying to, when he jumped and he was off the ground, then be physical with him, so you could kind of move him in the air.
Go with him, not against him.
Or you definitely wouldn't want to, like, you know, get involved in it. You know, I think it's very important to understand that that's a battle you're going to lose 99% of the time. Okay. So you kind of have to figure out a way of dealing with him. I just think John Terry, even though, you know, I just think he's been brilliant for 15 years, and I know he only played for maybe the last first 5 years, sorry, of the decade, but yeah. I still think he did enough.
Well, I mean, the first 5 years of the decade, Carragher and Neville, again, just because theirs is fresh in my memory, both went for Van Dijk, who's played fewer than 5. So, I guess Southampton is in there as well. But it's still, it's similar amount to Terry, maybe even a year or two less.
I agree. But
so I mean, Terry still, even at the end of his career,
I think he was still a fantastic defender, and I always remember playing against him, and he was just coolness personified. His range of passing was good, and he was such a tough defender as well, even, you know, getting on.
The obvious example with Anton Ferdinand excluded, was he mouthy on the pitch? Was he
Not at all.
Right.
Like, you know, definitely not. He was really nice guy, actually.
Was he?
Yeah, well, not nice, but, you know, he was fine. But I remember I spoke to him a few times, and he's a really nice fella. Like, you know, that's my experience of him. Other people obviously feel that he's, you know, something else. But my experience of whenever I've met him, you know, off the pitch, he's been quite courteous and quite nice, and I had no issue with him whatsoever.
Well, we've Pat Nevin on regularly, and Pat says, you know, Pat's very incredibly smart guy, brilliant pundit, and he often sings the praises of John Terry off the field, says he's misunderstood character in many ways. I mean, obviously, look, a few obvious foibles along the way, to say the least, but said, no, he's not what you expected, actually. Was
exactly.
So Terry and Company, okay.
All right, listen, I've gone with, and this was the toughest one.
Left back.
Left back.
Not for the reason, usually they'd be tough because there's a lot of competition. You just don't think there's been a dominant
There hasn't been a standout left back. As soon as Ashley Cole kind of left the scene, you know, you're kind of getting to Marcus Alonso. He had a good couple of years at Chelsea, but he was a left wing back. Okay, fair enough, you put him in. Fuchs at Leicester, sorry, had a fantastic year. But I just think for consistency over the decade, I've gone with Danny Rose.
And Evra didn't do enough, no?
When did I ever wrap up? No. Do you know why? Because Evra never like stood out in my mind, really.
I can't believe that.
Post 2008, post-2010 ever was on the slide, I thought.
Okay, but I presume you agree when he was at his peak, he was...
When he was at his peak, I think, I think Ashley Cole was still better than him if you're going to go with like the 2005 to 2015.
He was at United until 2014.
Yeah, but I think he was on the slide for a couple of years, I don't think he was as
throw John Terry back
marauding and rampaging as what he was,
He was there from 06 to 14.
I think from 06 to 2010, Ashley Cole was still the best left back in the Premier League.
Did you play against Cole?
Yeah, I played him against him. He was
class.
Yeah, different. Yeah, just a good player, really. Anyway, look, left back's open. It's
an unbelievable insight you've given us there to Ashley Cole.
Yeah, he's a good
really
player,
good. Ashley Cole, good player.
What can you say? Everyone knows Ashley Cole. He's top. Okay, central midfield. I've gone with.
You got Danny Rose.
I got with Danny Rose, yeah, because I just thought, like, Aspilicueta only had a year playing there for Chelsea when they won the league. The same for like Fuchs and Marcos Alonso. So I just think Danny Rose was. I mean, come on, he had a spell there from like 2012 to 2016 where he was outrageous, as a left back. So
I would think he had his high intensity runs up as well.
Yeah. Centre midfield player that probably no one's going to agree with, but I always thought was fantastic, was Dembele.
Get out.
Honestly, I did. I just thought even at Fulham he was brilliant, and when he went to Tottenham, I mean, I've never seen a guy be able to take the ball and just not care about he could run with the ball with you on his back, and I did see him do that a few times. He was just, and I think he's the type of player Spurs are missing now. Not only was he very strong, but he was a fantastic passer of the ball as well, and he was quick and he was aggressive, and I think if Spurs could have him back now, that type of midfield player, I think Jose would be delighted with him. But there's a guy who could take the ball anywhere in any situation.
This is the kind of one of the real upsides of getting people who've shared a pitch with these players to do this, because I do remember watching Soccer AM like a couple of years ago, and they asked Harry Kane the teammates thing, and I think they said best player, and he said Dembele, and Tubes, one of the presenters in Soccer AM, said back to him, every Spurs player says to us Dembele.
Yeah.
But I guarantee you, if you ask a person in the street, they're not going with Dembele in the same way.
I was just in awe of him. I mean, there's a guy who he could go to centre back, take the ball, and just not care because he was so strong, and then he could travel with the ball and hold somebody off while he's travelling 40 yards with the ball, and then pick a pass as well. So I also thought he was an absolute handful, and he was a unit as well. He was a big man. The other one I got was Kante. I think that his
no-brainer.
I mean, his breakout year at Leicester, I remember when we first played against him, everyone in the change room was going, we played at Leicester in the first game, and it was the first, when we'd heard about him and saw a little bit of him, we thought, but until everyone came in the change room afterwards, at the stadium, the Walker Stadium, whatever it's called, and everyone was just like, oh my God, has anyone seen anything like that in their whole life before? Like, we couldn't believe how quick he was, how like aggressive he was, snapping into tackles, how he closed. You see a player who's 10 yards away and the ball comes to you and you think, okay, I've got a couple of seconds, I'll get it out with my feet. It was like, he was on you like that. You just closed that gap so quickly.
I did wonder how he wins so many balls off players.
He closes that gap. I've never seen a player, I mean, I'd love to see him on the gates for his 10-yard sprint. It's probably not amazing, but I don't know, he just chews up that ground really quickly, and he gets on you without even realising it.
He might also disguise the first movement that he's coming for you.
Yeah, as soon as you see him and you take your eyes off him, then he might go, and then by the time he's like, oh, he's on top of me. But sometimes he'd frighten you because he'd get on you so quickly. You'd be like, I didn't even see, where was he, Right. And then he went to Chelsea and he was the same, obviously, and I still think he's one of the most fantastic.
We're seeing a bit more from him going forward now, interestingly, as a footballer. But in his role, primarily you're having him there for that ability.
Yeah, I think definitely just from his defensive abilities. I've gone for.
Was there? By the way, was Yaya Toure in your mix there?
No, he's not. So I've gone for a 4-2-3-1.
Hang on. Why?
Because I don't think he was good enough.
Really?
Yeah, I played against him. He was absolutely insane, but like, he was good. I don't know. I was more impressed with the other ones. Yeah. Look, I mean, there's an argument to be made for it, but the only place I could put him is like in. I don't know, man. No, I'm sticking with it. Dembele was definitely one player where I just thought, wow, what a good player. Whereas he was good, man. Anyway, my middle three across was Ozil.
This is a strange conversation.
Ozil was like, was amazing for a period there.
Ozil, okay, yeah, go on.
Was in the 10.
But did you look at Ozil and think?
Oh, I was in awe of him. Absolute man crush.
Well, I was going to say, if I put in a hard tackle on him, he'll go missing. Was he brave?
You could never get near him. He ghosted. You would try, but he just ghosted. He would just glide around the pitch and just would pop up in areas and flick it and drift, and he just had that elusive, would be the word I'd use with him, when he was at his peak, and even when he was at Germany as well. He had just had that way.
Why do you think managers have sort of lost faith in him?
Because he doesn't defend. When he loses the ball, he's an absolute non-entity. He just switches off and just walks. And I think the modern game has moved on to a point where you can't have that. You need to contribute when you don't have the ball. All 11 players have to contribute. In the middle, in the 10, I've gone to Coutinho, because that year they nearly won the league.
He doesn't work either.
He does more than what you believe.
Really?
Because when I say you need to contribute, again, I've said it before, I'm not saying you have to go and like smash someone or, become like I think someone asked me a question about Jack Byrne, is similar to these types of players. You have to contribute, either filling a passing lane, stopping centre-back, getting a certain pass, becoming like a shepherd for the number 6, where you stop him turning out and hitting the switch. So, if a left-back goes into the 6, you've got to make sure the only pass he has is back to the left-back. Yeah. So that's contributing. So
and he would do that?
Oh yeah, he was very good at that. Okay. You know what I mean? And he was very. I remember him being very clever, where he would like step out of a passing lane and you'd see it, and then step back into it very, very late. So he'd almost tempt you into it, and he'd nick those interceptions, and you'd be like, got me again.
Yeah.
And then David Silva really as well was the other one.
Well, we've talked to you about Silva before.
Silva, you can't.
You have him right up there.
I think he's been the best player in the last 10 years in the Premier League. I really has. I know he's kind of been a little bit quiet for the last couple of years by his standards, but I think he's the best footballer that's played in the Premier League. He just is. The guy's just unbelievable, like amazing, absolutely amazing. And
up front, leading the line,
Luis Suarez. Yeah, Luis Suarez. Just because that year he was 30 goals, unplayable. He's just, any kid that thinks he wants to be a footballer, just put on clips from that year and thinks you can just swan around a football pitch.
I used to watch Suarez, and maybe it's different when you played against him, not electrically fast.
No, he was just...
How did he get, and I wouldn't say he had, Ronaldo or Danielson kind of quick feet.
It was just
how did he get? He dribbled by lads in tight places.
Man, he would just, everything was 100 miles an hour with him, and he put his heart and soul into every step he took on a football pitch.
So if he was dribbling at you one-on-one, he was able to get around players.
Because he was almost one of those guys where he'd run and leave the ball behind him and then drag it with him. He just had that weird kind of...
It was unorthodox. It hit his shin sometimes and go.
Yeah, and sometimes you're right. He would run kind of almost underneath you and stuff. But his work rate was ridiculous. He just ran everywhere, and he was just just by sheer effort he made so many things happen for himself and the team. He would just chase every lost cause. He would run channels. He would hold it up. He would win free kicks. He would stick his head in where it hurts. Similar to like a Diego Costa type side forward, where they were like men possessed. Yeah. And that's why I think that any young centre forward that thinks he wants to be a player, watch people like him play football, because wow, did he work hard?
Yeah.
And in fairness, honourable mentions to Yaya Toure. He was,
Oh, sure. Yeah. No, he was what did you say? Good player.
He was a good player. Listen, he was very good. He was brilliant. He was another guy who was deceptively quick. He could run past you, and he just had that range. And his finishing was brilliant. Look,
you really liked Dembele. That's fair enough.
I just liked Dembele. I always just thought he was just an amazing footballer.
All the Spurs players say that, and you can't argue with Kante. So then you get in a bit of trouble. So it's De Gea, it's Walker, Kompany and Terry, Danny Rose, Dembele and Kante. Then we have a 3 of Silva, Coutinho, Ozil and Suarez up top. Ask Damien about Berbatov. Was he bone idle or a constant threat?
Disinterested, but he was always an absolute handful. That when, very similar to Van Persie, Torres the same. They were guys that would just kind of
could walk around for 5 minutes.
They wouldn't be walking around. They'd be conserving energy, because they didn't want to they knew they couldn't be running around at a million miles an hour, but they would just kind of drift, and almost you'd switch off then thinking, oh, this guy's just wandering, and then they'd do something, so they were always the ones we'd worry about.
The same texter, Paul in Cork, wanted to know if you thought Wayne Rooney, should he not be on the team of the decade? Was Rooney in the mix for you?
He was, yeah. But I just don't think he doesn't get in the head of any of those 3 for me, really. Because Rooney had that mad spell, really, in this decade where he was playing everywhere, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was kind of playing... Under Van Gaal, he was playing like number 6, wasn't he, at one point? And
Ferguson had him left wing in one of his best years. That would have been 09,
But that's what I'm saying. I think Rooney's best years were probably kind of like maybe 07 to 2012, 2013 type of thing.
And doing a lot of donkey work.
Right, and then, listen, he was fantastic, don't get me wrong, but he never... Look, that's what I say. This is definitely open to, like, you know.
Yeah, but you've played against them.
Exactly.
You
It's
get
these
like
players that I thought
I played against them.
that I was most impressed with, you know.